In the small town of Wayne County, Michigan, lived a family, the Lisbons, consisting of 5 daughters, Lux, Mary, Cecilia, Therese, and Bonnie, and 2 very loving parents. The Lisbon family was perceived the same way by anyone who laid eyes on them. Perfect. Not only were they all beautiful and smart and funny and loving, making them a must-have to the neighborhood boys, but they were also untouchable and most of all unreadable. Within the Lisbon family, despite their perceived perfection, were endless problems that were hidden until one day when they would be exposed to everyone. The novel begins with the attempted suicide of Cecilia Lisbon, a 13-year-old girl and the youngest of the Lisbon family. As the story proceeds, the remaining 5 Lisbon sisters, Lux, Mary, Bonnie, and Therese, become more secretive with their personal lives, but reach out to their classmates in a social aspect as friends as well as dates. The Lisbon girls are dreamt of by every guy in their neighborhood because of their utter perfection. The girls endure various hardships throughout the year after Cecilia's death. They are the prized possessions of the neighborhood boys, but are seen to them as nothing but possessions. Their unnecessarily strict mother drives them absolutely crazy and causes them to rebel and make very poor decisions that will affect their lives. The social pressures and judgments on their family led them to extreme self-consciousness and the belief that they will never be good enough and will never fit in or be normal. After many more difficulties in the Lisbons' lives, the 4 girls make a suicide pact and all take their lives on the 1-year anniversary of Cecilia's death. A common misconception of teen suicide is that a teenager who suffers from depression is the most likely to take their life. Also, that oftentimes their reason for suicide is based on one reason and is a sudden realization. While these are not necessarily false, as illustrated in the Virgin Suicides, there are many reasons that a teenager would choose to take their own life, and in this particular case, they built up over time and all ended at once. There are many themes present in this novel. Perfection. The comparing views of perfection and the strive to be perfect are serious factors that can lead to the fatal suicide for teenagers who have difficulty accepting transitions in their lives. When the Lisbons catch on to the neighborhood obsession with their family, they, too, begin to think of themselves as perfect, and anything that proves that wrong becomes an immense problem for them and causes them to reconsider their existence. Being normal. Similarly to the strive for perfection, the aspiration to be normal as well as the fear of being abnormal play into the stressful and often feared transition from childhood to adulthood and the tragic suicide that can be an outcome. Strict parents. Mrs. Lisbon is tremendously strict and overprotective of her children. While she has every right to protect them, seeing what has happened to her youngest daughter, she takes her strict motherly nature one step too far and drives her kids to make poor choices and rebel against their parents. This ultimately results in more problems within the family and family betrayal to the girls, which leads them one step closer to their death.
I think a family would generally look like too perfect. Um, the it also I think tends to be in upper or middle class families more often. Family that has means and parents are off traveling and busy, a child feels maybe like they're not understood. There might be a perceived lack of respect that the child feels. Possibly the parents would be very, very strict. Maybe there's a lot of pressure on the child to be successful and ambitious and perfect. And those are a lot of, I think, qualities that a family would have.
The Virgin Suicides demonstrates how the American identity often neglects the difficulties of teenage years and how the stress that comes along with it can lead to teen suicide.